Hey Wildlifers, it's Cassandra, your Ideal Protein Coach, and today I'm going to share with you how I coach our clients to do their own measurements. And you're probably asking, well, why would your clients need to do their own measurements? Some of our clients are virtual, so they don't actually come in every week to meet with me. We meet virtually. And part of what we do at Ideal Protein is we ensure that you're not only losing the weight, but also that you're burning fat. And we're going to know that you're burning fat by taking measurements in some key places where we know that people tend to collect fat. There are other areas that we could certainly measure, like ankles or calves, or some areas that some of our clients have asked us to measure. But these are the areas that we know fat can collect, and so we want to ensure that you're losing the fat, which is what's going to help not only for you to lose weight, but can help with lowering your blood pressure, lowering your risk. Sorry, got a little friend there. Lowering your risk for cardiovascular disease. We know that belly fat is an indicator of higher cardiovascular risk, and so we want to make sure that we're taking those measurements and that you are burning the fat. Your measurements, along with your weight, along with your biometrics, gives us a full picture of your health. And so the first week that you're with Ideal Protein, you may receive a form that looks something like this. And we use this form to just document every week, and we can transition this information into the Ideal Protein app. Once it's in the Ideal Protein app, then I can see it, and then during our 15-minute coaching session every week, we can discuss it. So we're going to measure about 6 different places, and I'm going to write down my measurements because that's what I encourage our clients to do, is to write down their measurements. Let's see here. And so you're going to start with a measuring strip in inches. So inches is going to be the big side, the little side is going to be centimeters. We want inches, unless you prefer to do metric, but most of my clients don't prefer to do that. We're in the United States, we're probably the only ones who use inches and feet and all that good stuff. So we're going to go with our neck. You can do your thorax when you come in with your coach. Typically that's we're measuring from shoulder to shoulder from on your back, but that's really difficult, I have found, to do at home. So typically I don't do the thorax unless you have someone at home that's willing to do that. I have some folks who like to do the thorax this way, but typically for my remote clients, I don't ask them to do that. Then we're going to do the chest, we're going to do the arm, the waist, the hips, and then finally the thighs. So let's start with the neck, and I like to have my clients measure their neck because in a former life I was a sleep technologist, and we always measured our clients' necks, and that helped us to know, for example, a man around 17.5 inches or higher had a pretty good probability of having sleep apnea. And so I like to measure the neck, particularly if you're someone who has sleep apnea or who's having sleeping problems. It's always kind of good to see if there might be a difference as your neck gets smaller. And so this measuring tape has an end right there. So what I like to do is just take that end, and wherever the end meets, I put my finger there. Oops, and we can see that my neck is about 14.5. So I'll just write that down. Coming off camera there, guys, sorry about that. Now, I will admit that it is Christmas 2024 season, and I have been definitely off protocol, phase 2, phase 3, for about 2.5 weeks, and I had a great time on vacation, so I'm thoroughly expecting my measurements to possibly be a little bit bigger, and I'm expecting my weight. So I feel like I'm going to have to do a jump start. Because I think I'm at my trigger weight. So here we have about, so see, the metal meets there, so I'm at about 35.5. So again, we go across our nipples is sort of the line that we use. Don't let it sag like this, because that's going to make your measurements bigger. I also recommend that you have the same person do your measurements. I've had even different Ideal Protein coaches who do my measurements. They come up with different measurements sometimes. So if it's going to be you every week that's doing your measurements, then make sure it's you. If it's going to be, you know, your husband, your spouse, your significant other, your kids, whoever it is, just try to make sure it's the same person every week. So here for our waist, we're going to go with our belly button. So our belly button, so you go right across your belly button, again, trying to make sure that's as straight as possible. And I'm at about 33.5. I skipped my arm. So for the arm, this is probably the hardest one for me. So if you see me fumble a little bit, it's because this is definitely the hardest measurement. I recommend both for our coaches as well as when I'm doing myself, the bend in your arm right here, 3 fingers, wherever your index finger hits, that's kind of, I just kind of eyeball it and bring this guy around. And this is definitely the hardest one for me. I'm at about 11.5, and I'll be honest with you, that's the hardest one. Sometimes I'll have somebody to help me with that if I have to do it myself. But you get pretty good at it once you're doing it every week. All right, so now the hips. Hips are, I will say, are kind of up to you. I think everybody's hips are in the same places. What I do recommend is that you pretty much keep your feet together instead of spreading them apart. So put your feet together. And for me, my hips are like right here. And I've actually, and I try to go also across the biggest part of my, oh, got centimeters there, of my backside as well. So I want it to be at where I think it's the widest. And the metal crosses at about 43. So we'll do 43. And then thighs, same thing. I think I try to go in the middle. You don't want to go too high. You can't see my knee. You don't want to go too low. And thighs are probably the easiest to do. I would say just try to kind of get the thickest part of your thigh, but not too far up. And I'm at about, about 24.25. All right, so now that I've written everything down, we're going to go and into the Ideal Protein app, and I'm just going to share my screen and show you how that works, how you manually enter in your measurements in the Ideal Protein app. So I am just entering in my measurements. Remember, I skipped my thorax. And now I'm going to put in my chest. And my arms. You can see how easy this is. And the reason why we put it in the app is a few things that I've learned after being at a couple of different Ideal Protein clinics. The first one is when you go from clinic to clinic, let's say you move from, I don't know, Santa Fe to New York City or somewhere else, you will be able to see your history. The second reason why you might want to do this is it makes it really easy for your coach and for you to see the trends over time. So it makes it easy to move between clinics, but probably more importantly, we care about the trend. We care if you're trending up, if you're trending down, and it also gives us an opportunity to see your total inches lost, which is always exciting, especially when you get to the end of the weight loss phase. So as you can see, I've entered in all my measurements and I'm just going to click save. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the WA Life channel for more wellness tips and inspiration. If you'd like to learn more about the Ideal Protein Protocol and achieving WA in your own life, visit our website, www.waidealprotein.com. That's www.waidealprotein.com. And also be sure to follow us on social media. Thanks, everyone. Until next time.